Hey everybody, Pete A. Turner, executive producer and host of the Break It Down Show. Today's episode features a good friend of mine, Kat Connor, who's a Kiwi. That means she's from New Zealand, and she runs the Writer's Plot bookshop. It's an independent bookstore in Upper Hutt, New Zealand, and we just think the world of Kat. Kat is also the writer of the multi-volume Byte series, and the latest book has just been completed. It's called Vaporbyte. Kat's cast of characters, including Senior Special Agent Ellie Iverson, and her team are at it again, solving another serial crime. You're going to love this episode. Kat and I hanging out talking about how she gets it, and then just how crazy it is inside her head with the characters demanding to get out and just telling her the story and her basically transcribing what's happening. It's a fascinating story, and I love her process. Hey, listen, we could really use your support in the show. Those of you already doing it, thank you. Those of you on the fence, just share the show. Tell someone about it. Maybe go back and listen to a couple old episodes. Buy some t-shirts. Those are good ways to support the show and let us know you're out there and that you dig what we do, no matter what country you're in. And I see you, France and Macedonia and Spain, all these different countries that participate. Gosh, I love the fact that you guys are out there and supporting the show. Do what you can to spread the word, and I appreciate it. Save the Brave, savethebrave.org. Donate at Save the Brave. Each and every month, a small amount will go a long way, and I'd appreciate it. Hey, here comes Kat Connor.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick
This
Morata.
is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hi, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Alrighty. Hi, this is Kat Connor, and you're listening to the Break It Down Show.
Hey, remember the first time when you were on the show, you were like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on this show, and it was all exciting, and, I can't believe it. And now,
Yes.
Come on, we're just friends and everything. What's it like for you now when I say, hey, let's record?
It's relaxing. It's not the terrifying thing it was to start with. I can just go, okay, we're just going to have a chat. That's all good.
Good. Yeah, and it's still great. I mean, I love that we get to do this. You and I have done a number of shows now, but this one in particular is because your new book is out. You've got book number 11 in your Byte series, and it's called Byte. Wow.
This is true.
Tell us about it.
It's a fantastic story. It really is. It's actually very, very warped. This story came about because I was walking home from the bookshop with my daughter number 4, and we were talking. We have these weird conversations. I usually refer to the children in the playgrounds as zombies.
Uh-huh.
But so we were talking about zombies and whatnot. And then I'm not quite sure how it evolved, but we started talking about this crazy woman who's a scientist, whose husband is a comic, and he dies in Kandahar. But he doesn't die horribly. He actually has a heart attack or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He was on a tour, entertaining the troops. So this guy dies. So we were talking about how that one thing would affect this woman. And if that affected this woman badly, it would affect a lot of other people badly. So it's kind of like you do something bad in one part of the world, almost the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch the ripples. So we watched the ripples all the way home. It's a 40-minute walk. We're talking about this woman and what she could do. And one of his jokes from his stand-up was that when he died, he wanted to be stuffed and put on the couch in the living room because he thought that would deter, suitors for his daughter. and he thought it was quite cool. He stuffed me and put me on the couch. And you can't do that to a human because our skin doesn't allow for taxidermy particularly well.
Uh-huh.
So I had to come up with another way of stuffing him and putting him on the couch.
Oh, boy.
So by the time we got home, I was Googling on my phone on the way home. So by the time we got home, I knew exactly what I was going to do.
So wait, hold on. Did you already know that you can't do taxidermy on humans very easily?
Yeah.
Why do you know that?
I looked it up for something. It was years ago. I remember thinking, man. So obviously this was in my brain for a while, you know?
Right.
Man, can you stuff people? No, you can't. But then I had to come up with a way of how I could do that. And of course, there is a way that you can preserve the human body.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, the Body Works tour was in Auckland. And I'm like, this is going to give away a whole bunch of the plot, but the book's been out for a while, so catch up, people.
Catch up. Yeah.
Yeah, catch up. So I went, what about plastination? What about we plastinate him?
Uh-huh.
And it's not even that hard a process. I'm like, oh, all right, figure that one out. And then if she was a scientist, and we knew she was, she may well have trained in Germany with Dr. Death and learnt how to plastinate. She may even be working in a lab in America plastinating slices of bodies and things for universities or animals for vets or whatever. So I decided that's what she did, but nobody knew.
What is plastinating? I don't know what that is. Like, are you injecting a plastic solution into the body? Or?
Pretty much. It takes a year to do a whole body.
Oh, wow.
So you replace all the fluid in the body with the silicone, really. And it hardens, and you have this perfectly preserved, it's a teaching aid, obviously, so people don't have to deal with cadavers all the time. So you've got this perfectly preserved tissue. Okay, so you can do whole bodies, obviously. Mm-hmm. It would take a really long time, but maybe she got a taste for that. Maybe she thought, this was fun. And as long as you get them into a pose before they completely harden, you can do anything.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Check out the Body Works exhibits. They are really creepy, but they're cool.
Yeah.
So she decided not to tell anyone she'd done this, not even her daughter. And she had her husband sitting on a couch in a replica living room in a hidden room in her office, really.
Is this a real story or is this your story?
Oh, this is my story.
Okay.
This is what?
Because this seems like something you might hear about in the news, you know, where like.
That's right. Who knows whether there's some crazy person out there with her husband sat on a couch.
Right.
And so he'd been there for quite a number of years, quite happily. And she decided that this was kind of fun. So she started making families disappear, I guess. That's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
So the whole story centers around obviously Ellie doesn't know what's going on because she comes across in the very beginning a truck hijacking and the payload is acetone. And Kurt makes the comment that you could dissolve a shitload of fat with that. Uh-huh. And she doesn't think much of it. She's like, man, you know, people are just weird. Why the hell would you want a truckload of acetone? And because now she's the sack, she just hands that over to somebody else. She's like, the Delta B can deal with that. And she moves on. So I had to come up with a way of bringing these plastinated people to Ellie's attention. Because obviously I write from her point of view, not from the bad guy. So that was really fun, trying to figure out how that would happen. So I had a cop who had a missing family. And he heard about another missing family in a different state. So he contacts Ellie and says, I just need an opinion. Can you just have a look at this and tell me what you see? Because it's baffling us. So she starts to investigate. Just, you know, have a quick look through all the files, see if they've missed anything, what's going on. And more families start popping up as missing. And it's a whole trail across America.
God, that's really...
And she's like, it's really weird.
This is a ghoulish tale. Good for you.
It is. And so she's like, well, there's obviously more to it than families going into WITSEC. You know, something is going on.
Yeah.
But why? What is it that pulls these families together? So she's completely dumbfounded for a while. And meanwhile, she's getting these very odd texts. The minute she started investigating this missing family thing, she started getting cryptic texts, which are just one word, and they all start with crypto.
Huh.
So she gets cryptomnesia, cryptocurrency, cryptozoology, cryptosporidium, all these crypto words. And that's just weird. And she discounts that for quite some time because it doesn't seem to have any relevance to what they were looking at. And they weren't really investigating as such. They were just looking over files. And then it becomes apparent that maybe there's something to that. And they discover that one of the people belonged to a group who was looking for Sasquatch. And she goes, oh, hang on, that's a cryptozoology thing. We've got a connection. This means something. And then one of the other missing people is a psychiatrist. And it all starts to come together. And she's like, okay, someone from the inside is trying to tell us something.
Right.
Why don't they just knock on the door and go, hey, I know where your families are, but they obviously can't. And then it gets weird.
Then it gets weird.
Because that's not weird enough, right?
Yeah, not weird enough, please. A little more weird.
Not weird enough. So it goes on, and she has it all starts to sort of spin on her, really. And a Marine becomes involved. She discovers that one of the missing families, that the husband has got 3 wives. And she's like, well, okay, let's see if we can find another couple of the wives, because surely they're not all missing.
Right.
And one of the wives is a sister of this Marine. So she goes looking for him because she can't find the wife, and then discovers another whole mess. And one of her team gets stabbed right in front of the building. So, it's delightful. And that's connected to this Marine who's connected to this missing woman. It just gets really, really weird.
Yeah. So what drives this, like this whole storyline? Obviously you're walking with your daughter home and everything, but you get, did you know the story was going to go? Well, let me back up. Let me ask this in a different way. We were talking before you wrote this book about crypto, and I was thinking you were going to have some kind of financial thriller scandal with cryptocurrency and like the dark web and stuff. This is not that.
Oh, no, that's in there.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, that's there. Because that's how she's financing a lot of it, because she can't get out there and buy the hundreds of liters of chemicals she needs.
Right.
Legitimately, because someone somewhere is going to go, didn't you just have an order for this?
Right.
What the hell are you doing?
Right.
So she finances and purchases a lot of the things she needs when she's not stealing it using cryptocurrency. And there's also a mining section in this. When you get toward the end and you see what she's done with these people.
Well, let's let that cliffhanger be a cliffhanger then. So I guess for those that aren't initiated, let's talk a little bit about the Byte series so that folks can know more about the characters and what's going on. So this is the 11th book, and 12 is halfway written, so that's coming.
Yep.
But let's go back in time. Let's talk about the series as a whole.
All right. Well, it's a series that follows the life of Ellie Iverson. Well, she's now Ellie Iverson. She was Ellie Conway when the series started. She was a young 30-year-old FBI agent in the beginning, working with a team that investigated serial crime. And she was just young. She was young. She grew. And as the series progressed, she's taken on more responsibility. She became the team leader, and they still usually investigate serial crimes of any sort, serial bank robbery, serial rape, serial murders. Her and her team, they're really, really close. They spend so much time together, they're family. So she has Kurt Henderson, who's actually a doctor. She has Lee And Dane, I've got to get his last name right. I always get it wrong. Isn't that weird?
It's super weird.
Dane Smith. And he's new to the team. He came along during book 9.
Okay.
Trying to think. So he's quite new. He's the youngest and the newest. He actually joined with his twin brother, who was killed in book 10. So that's basically who the story is about. It's about these 3 guys and this one woman and how they go about life. And it's not just about the cases, it's about them, it's about the relationships. It's just trying to find a balance between what they do and who they really are. So it's fun for me because of the relationships.
Yeah, yeah. And so you've got this FBI backdrop and 11 different significant stories that these guys go through. And you're so good at weaving all of that into something that, it turns out, Kat, that you're a great writer and you write really compelling,
Who knew?
Well, and I think I paid you the highest compliment I know how to pay, and it worked for you. I'm just like I feel like I'm reading a Stephen J. Cannell book.
Yes, you did, and it just blew my mind. Thank you for that.
It's so great, but I mean, it's exactly what it is because you're there. You're in the gritty city of LA, and that kind of thing. But you get all that stuff down.
God knows how. But.
The Byte. What's that?
I said I don't know how. I honestly don't know how.
Yeah.
But
I
think
you do it.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? So right now, if you talk to Kat from however many years ago, who's about to write all these crazy stories, I mean, obviously you can't believe that you're here, but here you are. But what do you tell that Kat? Like, what did she need to know that she didn't know back then?
I think she needs to know to trust herself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when this all started, it was one book, right? It was Byte.
Right.
And I thought it was quite a cool story. It was actually written completely differently to how you see it now. It was written third person. And a very good friend of mine in Virginia said, "You can do better." And he said, "You need to put yourself there. Be the story." And I went, "I don't want to be that close to it. That's too scary. I don't want to do it." And he said, "Don't be such a baby. You need to be there and you need to feel it because third person's too easy."
Yeah.
And I went, okay. So I rewrote the book and it took me 3 months. I rewrote the book, first person. And then I discovered the killer wasn't who I thought it was.
Aha.
How weird is that?
That is super weird.
Yeah, because it worked the way it was before. And I was like, this is great. I can step back. I was stepped back from it and I could go, I quite like it. But suddenly I'm in it and I'm looking at it differently. And if he hadn't pushed me, this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't be looking at book 11 because I wouldn't have had that connection, I don't think. And I would have gone, one book, here we go, let's do something else.
Right. So that one piece of advice changed everything about your future for the next 20 years, basically.
Yeah, it just changed the way I saw things. And I think it found my voice is what it did.
Yeah.
My voice is way stronger first person, and I'm no longer afraid to put myself somewhere where it's going to be scary. And there were times that I seriously wrote some of Byte under my desk.
Under your bed?
Under my desk, because I was writing in the middle of the night and it was freaking scary at some point. And I'm like, got the dog and I'm under my desk. But but that doesn't happen so much now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with putting myself in a place that's probably not a very good place because I know that I can just step out.
Right. Right. But that takes experience to get to that point.
Yeah, and it takes trust. You've got to understand you, I think. And I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, so who do you trust in that point? Like, I get that you trust you, but what does that mean? I don't understand.
I have to know in myself that I am stronger than what I'm writing.
Okay.
That I can look at it and go, okay, that's gut-wrenching. That's awful. Now step back, walk away, go and have a cup of coffee, go outside, go for a walk and just get it out and then come back and go, okay, right, let's look at it again. Because it's not real.
When did you, was it in the first book in Killer Byte? Is that when you figured that out, or did that trust build over time?
That trust built over time.
Talk about
and there
that.
are still some days, honestly, that I'm writing and I go, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And how the hell is this going to work? And it sort of, it builds up, it builds up, and you sort of got to step back and shake yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, just do it. And sometimes it is bad though.
Along those lines, you do some crazy shit when you're writing. And I'm saying this because I'm your friend and I know I can say this, but you become, or you have, I guess, conversations with the person. It's one thing to have like a soundtrack going in your head. A lot of us have that, but you know these people and they're not you.
Yeah.
How crazy is that to deal with? And when did you realize that was how you had to do this?
I think by Terabyte, by book 2.
Okay.
By book 2, Ellie's voice was so strong in my head that I started to think maybe she was or used to be a person.
Uh-huh.
But the weird thing is that by the time I'd finished the 3rd book, a friend of mine who was a cop had moved to Brisbane, and he rang me and he said, I think she was real. I think you're tapping into something. I think she was real. And I'm like, don't come at me with your mumbo jumbo. And he was laughing at me. And he said, think about it for a second. What was it like for you when you went to DC? What was it like when you walked the streets she walked in Northern Virginia?
Yeah.
And I went, it was like I was home.
Uh-huh.
And that's when he said to me, don't discount what your brain can pick up on. And so I just went, yeah, all right.
Right, of course.
Don't argue with him. Woohoo. And he said, no, it happens. You can pick up on stuff. And I said, well, I don't think I've picked up on an entire team.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah,
who
but
knows?
You kind of did, though.
Yeah, that's right. I kind of did. I knew stuff that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I knew stuff that I couldn't know.
Right.
Like I got to DC and I knew where I was going, what I was doing. And I'm like, how do I not get lost in a completely foreign place?
Right.
Because I knew it.
That is interesting. Because DC is a challenging place to get, especially Virginia. It's very challenging to get around in, especially if you're not from there. And you're from another country, just so you guys know. She's from New Zealand. So she's got no tie to Virginia, DC area.
I loved it. Honestly, I was howling when I left. I didn't want to leave.
Uh-huh.
I was on the train to New York going, I don't want to go. And my admins are going, come on, we're going to New York. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to go. I felt so safe and so at home.
Right. As you're doing that, as you're having this process, as you're learning to become you, the writer, and you're figuring out your voice, and all of these crazy things, this, preternatural connection that you've got, this knowledge that's just downloaded into your brain, the crazy things that everyday ordinary people would say, that's crazy. You can't know someone like that. You can't, just having all these different thoughts. Do you ever think to yourself, like, am I actually crazy? Like, is this actually me losing my head? I mean, because you are a little nutty, let's be honest, but,
I'm totally nutty. And I often think, okay, yep, all right, I can hear the voices. No one else can hear the voices. But as long as they're not telling me to do anything bad, I figure we're okay.
Yeah. Right.
But you're right. I do. I have conversations. I can see them when I'm writing or before I write a scene. There's like a video that plays in my mind.
And you've talked
so I can see the whole scene.
Right. And then can you manipulate that video? Can you wind it back and push it forward and change color and everything else? Or is it?
No.
Is it a memory?
Is that what it is? I don't know what it is. I can wind it back, but it will just keep playing over and over until I get the scene written. And it's not every scene, but it's usually a really important one, and it will just keep playing until I write it. And if I try and write it a different way, it won't work. And I could never work out what that was.
What do you attribute this to?
I have no idea. Insanity? just a creative brain? I don't know. I don't know, because I can honestly see my characters, which is weird, because when I first started writing Ellie, when she first came up, and she literally just walked in, I didn't know her name, and I didn't know what she looked like. And it was quite a while before I knew her name. I'm like writing the first scene going, you're different. You're not the person I was writing about before when this was third person. This is not the same person. But it, it took a little while. And I don't name the main characters. They come to me with names.
Okay.
I name the bad guys. I get to name the bad guys. I get to name everyone else. But like Kane, who was the SAC, who's now assistant director, he already had a name. I knew who he was. He was this guy. He was Kane Grafton. And the same with the team. I don't name them.
They already have names. Yeah.
They already have names. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird. Okay, so 12 books in, but there's hundreds of thousands of books that come out every year. Where you're at now, obviously you're an established writer. You've got this big thing, but sort of like my show, largely undiscovered. Not everybody knows who Kat Connor is. How do you deal with that? How do you reckon with the fact that you are absolutely successful? You can make a living as a writer, but, you can do this for all the years that you've done it, but you're not a household name, and yet here you are.
I know, it's crazy. Could do better, I think. That could be my catchphrase at the moment. Could do better.
Could do better.
But it's really hard, because I hear all the time from people who love my books and they love my characters and they really enjoy them. And I'm like, how does that equate though? And you try getting someone to write a review, it's like getting blood out of a stone. And yet people are happy to tell the author. They'll say, oh, I really loved it. Or I really loved this bit. It was really cool. But they won't take 2 minutes to write a review that would get the author notice.
Yeah. Let's take a pause here and say this out loud to the audience. These are the things. This is why I always say, you know what to do. Write a review. Give the person the time, because this is how the books are discovered.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here, and if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
Give the person the time, because this is how the books are discovered.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
When someone's looking, people read reviews. The computer is looking for books that get reviews. Even if you write 35 words or whatever the minimum is, even if it doesn't compel anybody to write, you're also making the computer take notice and say, hey, someone took the time to write a review. And that's why it's always 5 stars, give a review, and let Kat continue to do what she does, because, we need you talking to Ellie and telling us the crazy things that are happening out there in Virginia,
There's some really crazy things happening.
Yeah, you're telling me. Yeah. So what is the future for your characters? Where are these people going? Ultimately.
Well, currently, I can tell you where they're currently going.
Okay.
After Cryptobyte, there's some changes to the way they're operating. Vaporbyte deals with the re-emergence of the Q virus, which I can tell you. And they are traveling. The whole team, Ellie's the SAC now. She's leading the team officially. But they are going offshore. They are taking the team offshore. She's been posted and she's taking her team with her. And it's going to be quite exciting.
Yes.
Because yeah, because she's been to New Zealand before. She's come down here on cases, helping out New Zealand police. So now she's coming back, but she's coming back for a extended period.
What do you see as the future of the series? Like, do you see a book 13, 14? Are you unsure? Where are you at with where the team is at and what's next for them?
Let's say I'm unsure, shall we?
Okay.
Because there's a whole bunch of things that could happen.
Right.
To be honest, I've got a lot of characters that I could spin. But after Vaporbyte, I would like to take a break. I would very much like to work the spy story that I want to tell. And that's going to be a whole new set of characters, mostly male, which will be really fun for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that. Like, you need a chance as an author to do different things. I mean, it's great. Like, the people that can write the same thing for their whole career, that's wonderful. But yeah, like, let's try something else. But will it be the same approach, do you think? Like, is this your voice for all books, or is this your voice?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No, I think this is my voice for Ellie. I think that this is the strongest voice I can have for her to tell her story. But I'm quite hoping that I get to do some third person with the spy story.
Yeah.
Because that just gives me a little bit more scope.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely.
And I think easier if I'm going to rewriting male characters, I'm not a guy. I don't think like you.
Right.
So I think it will be a little bit sensibler to go from third person, so I can have an overview, sort of. Maybe third person limited, but still third person.
Which story do you think you will tell next, though? Like, is it the spy story, or is it something else? Or
No, it's a spy story.
Okay,
It's been brewing for about 2 years, and I really want to tell it.
Okay.
And it's set in New Zealand, which is going to be great fun.
That is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun. So I think I really want to tell that one.
Okay.
And it's got a bit of a twist. It's going to be...
I would hope.
Yeah, it's not who you maybe think of as a spy. So that's going to be even more fun, I think.
When you talk about a spy thing, how are you going to, like, what do you know already about espionage? Do you have an idea of the type of thing that these guys are going to need to do on a day-to-day basis?
I probably have absolutely no clue, Pete. That's where you come in.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, I'm glad to do that. Yeah, let me ask you.
I don't know.
Do the spy versus spy shows, do they help you answer some of those questions? Because I don't really get into like the mystery and the intrigue. I just get into like the day-to-day stuff that you have to do and deal with.
Yeah, they do. They do help immensely. I've also got a lot of books, as you can imagine, because I've had like a thing about spies for a long time. So I've got some really interesting books in my bookcase that I will start pulling out again and rereading. Right. Just so I know what sort of an overview of what these guys are going to be looking for and are doing, and why they're doing it. Right. Why they do things a certain way.
When you say you're writing a spy story next, why? Like, do you have an idea of the framework of the story, or you just want to write in that genre?
I just want to write in that genre. I kind of have a little bit of an idea. I've got like a first couple of paragraphs. So I have a little bit of a clue about two of my characters. Okay. And how unconventional they are. Okay. As in, people think spies, they think CIA, they think guys in suits or whatever, but they don't necessarily think bikers.
Right. You're right. You're totally right. They don't think bikers.
No, they don't think bikers.
Yeah.
But why not? You know?
Well, and you think about what a spy is too. Like, Jay Dobbins is a guy who is a biker spy. Like, he infiltrated gangs. And so he's absolutely that kind of guy where he's exactly what you want your character to be. He's tough. He can drink with all those guys and fight with them. And he can be them, and that enables him to infiltrate, And then there's the spies who who find someone who's already infiltrated, and they just guide that person to their best benefit, is to get the information that's needed to be got by just simply saying more of this, less of that, and they sort of manage that asset.
Yeah, see, that can be done.
Nice.
And I was thinking, like, this guy is a biker, one of my characters, or he looks like a biker. May not necessarily be a biker, looks like a biker.
Okay.
The chances of him being spotted on the street as a spy when he's following someone,
Pretty slim.
or when he's pretty slim, because people don't look at bikers. They do not look. They hear the bike, they see out of the corner of their eye what that guy looks like, and they don't make eye contact. It's like, look away.
Yeah.
Do anything else, but don't directly look at him. And I thought that's the sort of thing you can use to your advantage. The unease of the general population around people who look like they're related to gangs. So if he hands off to somebody else when he's tailing someone, he's just a biker, He was just out going somewhere on his bike.
Right. He's just going somewhere on his bike. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just doing his thing. Yeah.
He's just doing his thing. Come on.
Exactly. No one's going to think, hey, this is a bike. This is a spy.
Right.
Why is this guy following me? Because he's not following you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exciting. How long did it take you to... So where is book 12 of the Byte series at right now?
I think about halfway.
Okay.
I had planned on having it finished by the end of December, but I don't know. Maybe I will. It just depends on how much time I get. I'm planning on releasing next November, December, like I did this year. So I've got a little bit of time. But once it's gone, once it's off to my editor, then I can start thinking, and I can pick up that notebook that's sitting there looking at me that says spy story on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're already in some form of pre-production on it, though. Like you're jotting things down in that thing already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I come across stuff, listen to podcasts. And I go, oh, shit, that'd be handy.
Yeah. See, there you go.
And I write it down and go, right, I'm going to go back and listen to that again later.
Right.
So there's a notebook here that's growing. And I'm not 100% sure where the story's going, but I do know that there is a woman involved that they need to find out what she's up to.
Do you worry financially that this new character, because it may not become a series, but let's say that it does or doesn't, who knows? But do you worry financially about this choice being dangerous in terms of making money and selling books? No, because we're still not making enough money to really worry about it. So it's just another book. To be honest, it's just another book. I mean, it may do really well. Who knows? It may be another thing. It might take off. Maybe a spy story is the way to go. Right.
I don't see myself ever doing something like a romance because it's just not where my voice goes.
Right.
I tried that once. I tried a romance. By the 4th chapter, I had 2 kidnappings. Someone had lost a finger, and someone. I was like, yeah. It's not my brain. My brain goes, that's not exciting enough.
Yeah,
it's a romance. That's lovely. We have a romantic element in stories.
That's hilarious.
But
so,
it's not the
I
story.
mean, you can have a romantic comedy. You can also have a romantic murder story,
Yes. Well, there's always there's relationships. Yeah, there's relationships. So when an agent saw Byte early on, she said, I don't rep romances. And I was floored. I was like, I didn't frickin' write a romance.
Yeah.
But she had picked up on the relationship, the evolving relationship between Ellie and Mac. And I was like, but that's not the story. That's just a thread. That's just life.
Right.
The story is all these people are being killed and she knows every one of them. That's the story.
That's the story. Yeah.
So apparently there is a bit of romance in there, but it's not something actively write. I'm just like not wired that way, I don't think.
How much on a day-to-day basis, how much, and I'll say Ellie, but representing all of her team, how much attention do they demand from you?
A lot. Next to my kids in the house,
Yeah.
they probably demand an equal amount.
Wow.
Yeah. If I'm writing, like I'm writing right now, right? Well, not obviously right this second, but
Right.
I'm in the middle of a book, so they are never far away. And they're always trying to get my attention, which sounds even weirder.
Yes.
like
Yes,
if I leave Ellie in a situation, like at the moment, I have left her in a situation and she does not want to be there. And I know she doesn't want to be there, but she just has to cool her jets for a minute because she has to be there.
Yeah.
And she's itching to get out and get going. And I know that she just needs to stay there. She knows she needs to stay there, but she's been a real pain in the bum and she wants out. So at the moment, all I'm getting from her is this, can we just hurry up? Can we just move this along and get me out of here?
Right.
And I'm like, no, we can't. You got to bide your time here. Some things can't be rushed.
Are you thinking about getting into any other media at all? Like, screenwriting or, submitting some teleplays into, Hollywood, that kind of thing?
I would love to. I would really love to see this series as a TV series. I reckon it would be phenomenal. Not as movies. That doesn't interest me at all. But as a TV series, I just think that would be fun. And I have kind of fiddled around with coming up with a pilot based on the beginning of Byte.
Yeah.
And then I kind of fiddled around with Snakebite because it's novella, it's shorter, it's easier. But I haven't done anything with it. And I start writing and I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying this. And then these bunch of characters start going, but you haven't finished this story. And can we just tell you this? And can we just tell you what happens next? And I'm like, I just want to write you guys into something else, into another format. And they're like, nope.
Let me finish telling you my story.
It's very much like that. It gets very much like that.
Well,
And
you've
I
got an
sometimes
obligation
wonder.
to them too, right? I mean, they are real and they are your friends. And so you have
They
to
are my friends.
right. Like if your friend wants to sit you down for a couple hours and go into something, you're sort of obliged to go into it with them.
It doesn't make me sound any saner.
No. But I get it. I get what you're saying. So where do people buy your books?
Everywhere now.
Okay.
Look at me. If you go on my website, which is catconnor.com, there is a page there that just says, I think it's buy my books or buy the books. And there are universal links on that page that will take you to any store you want to buy the books from.
All right. I like that.
Paperbacks are now available in America, and they're also available through Writer's Plot Bookshop in New Zealand. So anyone wanting a signed copy, that's where you need to go. Otherwise, you can, if you're on the other side of the world, you can buy them from Amazon or Book Depository or wherever else they've
Wherever else you
appeared.
buy your
Books. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Who do you like to read?
Who do I like to read? I like to read Lee Child because he writes like I do. So it's a happy place for me. It's an easy place to read. I like Jeffrey Deaver because he's creepy as. Some Stephen King. Kiwi authors, I absolutely love Dave Hayward. He's got to be my favorite. He writes the most amazing war stories because he was there. So his Vietnam and Malay stories are incredible.
Well, that's fantastic. So if you want to get a hold of Kat, you can definitely, she's on Twitter. Obviously she's on Facebook and all that kind of thing. Her books are available on Amazon, as she said. And I just, first off, I think the world of you, Kat, and your writing, I just think it's great. And I will actually be reading this book. It's just I'm waiting for Christmas break when I slow down to do it and get through it. But I'm so excited for you and all the adventures. And it's neat, like how a professional career, an established author, evolves into other things. You are thinking about TVs, not movies, but you're thinking about TV, you're thinking about new characters, potentially new series, spin-off series, all of these things. It's like you have this tree that you nurture that's like continues to kick out this weird fruit. And you learn to not worry about how weird and how goofy your tree looks. You're just like, hey, what is that? Let's see what that is. And then you just explore it. And it's great to be with you along the journey and hear how you've done it, because you've gotten past the fear. You've gotten past the uncertainty. You've figured out what an audience is and your voice is. And those are, as you know, those are enormous obstacles to get by. And it's just great to see you just in this zone where you're still just so on fire and so passionate about what you're doing. And I think the world of you.
Thank you so much. I think if you're not passionate, you shouldn't be doing it, because your audience is going to know. If you didn't enjoy it, they are going to know.
Yeah.
They're going to pick it up and they're going to go, well, that was a waste of time. And I don't want anyone to pick up one of my books after me spending a year writing it and then them reading it in a couple of days going, well, that was a waste of time. That would be gutting, you know. I want them to go on a journey and to have fun.
Everybody, go on a journey with Kat and have some fun. The new book is called Byte. Get it on Amazon. Rate and review it. That is how you help authors out. Rate and review. Buy the book, rate and review. Hey, Kat, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.